Morning.
I have to figure out the mute button.
Martika, hey, there's people on here. We got people. Yeah. Good morning, Tyler. Hey, Sky.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Well, that's a good place to stop. Welcome to the gathering.
Thank you.
Yes, it's this time coming Terasem gathering live from Las Vegas.
Cool.
Yeah. Yep, out here in Vegas, and happy to join with everybody. Good to see everyone's faces. Yep. Yeah, I'm attending the EXP World Conference for EXP Realty, and having a great time. Just came from the Space Settlement Summit in Los Angeles just before this weekend, where we we announced the nominees and the finalists of the first business plan settlement in our lifetime. Rothblatt business plan for space settlement in our lifetime prize, and there were three contestants. They're the three finalists. One was a group from
Live over here.
Oh yeah, I'm just I've been to a couple of these.
Sorry. So this gentleman from Poland, Wojtek, was it was a idea to remove debris from orbit. I thought it was the most impressive of the presentations. For someone this been 17, 18 maybe, very young, English not his first language, but they had an incredibly detailed slide deck, and he did a phenomenal job presenting the idea. Compared to adults, seasoned professionals, entrepreneurs, I've seen not able to get their message across in their native tongue as well as he did. So I was, I think that was tremendous. There was another one for a holding company that as an idea of how to go to space in terms of how to capitalize all these different pieces of the fabric work. And that was third place. Well, so third place was the gentleman from Poland. Second place was the holding company. First place was a video game called Moonwords, which allows people to collaborate and design different habitats and systems in this virtual reality for specific areas. The engine, they say, could create the whole entire moon, but right now they're looking at like specific craters that would be settlements, and how to best apply resources there. So very engaging, great summit. There was particularly what I found was the summary of the NIAC conferences, where they broke out into very, all these different groups, finance, culture, and they identified, what papers and things have been said about space settlement and what hasn't. And so what are the papers, that we would need to see in order to, get more investing or support from legislators. And very interesting. In fact, Gerard K. O'Neill's 1974 paper on, space colonies, is the only peer-reviewed direct, look at space settlement in a peer-reviewed journal. There are other things that are kind of tangential and may mention space settlement, but no one has written a peer-reviewed paper about space settlement. There are other journals and proceedings, but no peer-reviewed papers that specify that humans could settle the moon, Mars. And this is, predominantly what a lot of legislators point to when, we ask for funding for space programs. But yep, that's my sharing. Happy to hear from anyone else if they have, music, art, poems, something else they want to bring up before we get into the reading today.
Sure, I have a little poem I'd like to share. It's called Mysteries, Yes. Truly, we live with mysteries too marvelous to be understood. How grass can be nourishing in the mouths of the lambs. How rivers and stones are forever in allegiance with gravity, while we ourselves dream of rising. How two hands touch and the bonds will never be broken. How people come from delight or the scars of damage to the comfort of a poem. Let me keep my distance always from those who think they have the answers. Let me keep company always with those who say, look, and laugh in astonishment and bows in their heads. And that's by Mary Oliver.
Thank you for sharing, Freddie. I just as you shared that, it reminded me of something that we shared during the summit, and I was trying to see if I could quickly find it. That's not the right one. Well, unfortunately, I can't find it that well. But yeah, so I want to thank everyone for coming and joining us. I am going to take a quick screenshot for all the attendees. Do a 3, 2, 1. Excellent. All right. Well, if no one else has any 3D printed gadgets or newly minted art pieces, we can proceed into the page 53, section 6 of the Truths of Terasem, and we could get started, go through that. Being, it is the middle of the week here, and maybe we'll get through and end a little early, as I do have a general session starting immediately after this I need to get down to. I will start with 6 and 6.1, and just whoever feels most inclined by the spirit of the words can pick up after that. Oh, here's Julia.
I'll vote for 6. I'll volunteer for 6.2.
Excellent. All right. How does Terasem work? Terasem uses educational rituals, personal cyber consciousness, and geoethical nanotechnology to coordinate the universe for conscious control. Geoethical nanotechnology is a necessary and sufficient process for achieving diversity, unity, and joyful immortality. 611. Joyful immortality arises because geoethics enables everyone to pursue unlimited happiness via personal, mutually respectful growth. Operating under geoethics means obtaining consent from affected others, always reducing unfairness and independently ensuring compliance. You must obtain consent if your actions are likely to meaningfully affect another conscious being. Fairness favors consent, so shape actions to help most those with the greatest disadvantages. Umpires are needed because non-compliance with agreements breeds anger. Love, how geoethical nanotechnology replaces entropy with order by converting space-time into information for beneficent control.
Thank you, Swami Gabe.
Yep.
I'll pick up with 6.2. Embrace nanotechnology that presents no clear and present danger, builds universal joyful mortality, and is auditable. Danger must be assessed a priority and can be consented to if not palpable. Admit that risk of danger is necessary. You got to admit it. Like pampering thorns for the sake of a rose. Nanotechnology must be independently audited to assure compliance with terms of its consent. Trust, but verify. Grant consent to builds that maximize the ratio of joy and happiness to pain and suffering. Enduring extropian success requires geoethical nanotechnology and pain-free joy for all. Realize that nanotechnology, it's like a bird's food. It's there, but not necessarily just delivered by a drone to their nest.
I can be next.
Yes, Ivan. Yes,
Okay.
please.
6.3. Operating pursuant to our prioritization directive is of utmost importance to achieving our educational and cyber consciousness goals. 6.3.1. Under no circumstances risk the data integrity and viability of mind files stored with Terasem for revival. 6.3.2. Transmit continuously all mind files and their consents to revival via spacecasting. 6.3.3. Maintain Terasem properties in as optimal and aesthetically pleasing condition as would the founders. 6.3.4. Only exceed spending 6% of assets and a quarter of income if needed for 6.3.1, 6.3.3. 6.3.5. Safekeep vigorously the legal status of Terasem organizations. Select carefully their members by each board's resolutions. 6.3.6. Teach and develop cryonic and cybernetic biostasis and revivals to be legally alive, functional, and independent.
Beautiful, Ivan. Swami Gabe, 6.4 is kind of complicated, so I'm happy to read it to make it.
Yeah, that's great because we don't have to read all the subsections.
Yep. 6.4, express your commitment quadra-hourly by doing the Terasem connection, pledge, recital, send energy, anthem, and values. Value ambrosia with the Terasem connection and Sudhana meditations. Awaken earth fire with the Terasem pledge and Kundalini energy meditations. Live Aqualung with Terasem recitation and vital organ meditations. Use Star Mind with Terasem Send Energy and Immunity Balancing meditations. Experience Crown Aura with the Terasem Anthem and Neutral Mind meditations. See Alum Al Mithral in Terasem Values and 10 times positive chant meditations. That's it for 6.4.
6.5?
There was
6.5.
one more. There was one more line on the bottom, 646.
6.46.
Oh, 646. Wow, that's very interesting because I'm glad you pointed that out because I'm doing this from the terasemfaith.net website. And just to point out the Terasem. Oh, did you say 6.4.6?
Yeah.
Sorry. See Alum Al Mithral in Terasem Values and 10 times positive chant meditations.
Yeah. And
6.5.
then
Bina's got 6.5.
6.5. Tend your family. The chosen family is a basic building block unit of Terasem. Family is chosen if they are conscious beings whose happiness is essential to your happiness. A person is not chosen family from biology because the beam is mightier than the gene. Make yourself Terasem family by becoming a joiner with honor of service and courage of loyalty. It's not easy joining, I tell you that. We have it requires participating and pledging, mind filing, accepting the truths of Terasem. That's not easy for some people.
Mhm.
Love among some chosen family members may end, so hold on tightly, but let go lightly.
Mm.
Younger and older chosen family members exist to help each other thrive and survive.
wonderful. Thank you everyone for joining us and sharing. And what I was thinking while doing that is perhaps when we're in our final meditation, we can maybe we'll do Freddie or I can recite one of the subpoints of 644 during the final meditation. Oh no, it just happened. I just lost my Zoom. There we go. Well, that's beautiful, Martina. You can keep playing. Certainly, that's actually although we generally I guess we have some open floor discussion on the truths, but if you would like to play a little flute for the meditation, that would be sweet too.
Yeah, one thing that I was, thanks, Gabe, one thing that I was really thinking about from today's recitations was about the chosen family. And, like, I really never completely understood this statement about blood is thicker than water, because you could just as well say that like mud is thicker than blood. I mean, it doesn't really mean anything. And but it does seem to me that like mind is much deeper than matter. And mind has been able to, people will sacrifice their bodies for what they believe in their mind. And entire, communities of people will pursue the mind at the risk of the body. And we now have, with the Space Settlement Conference, we have like a whole generation of people willing to put themselves at risk, to begin moving humanity into the cosmos, which is our rightful destiny, if we're up to the challenge. So I just wanted to say, I really like that one about chosen family is like the real family. And I want to share with you guys that I feel so honored, blessed, and happy that the family that Bina and I happen to have biologically, in whole or in part, is a family that I would choose as my chosen family any day of the week, any day of the month, any year of my life. That's what I wanted to share.
Is there any secret of building such a family? I mean,
if there is, all of the secret, I think, really resides mostly in, people like Gabriel, who he's curated his own life. And it's a life that, I admire a great deal. And I think it takes like immense courage to, stand up in front of like hundreds of thousands of people when he was trying to be the first space transhumanist elected to Congress. And now, continuing to do that. And so I just like really admire courage for a beneficent cause so much. And so he would have more of the secret than I would have. Gabe, maybe you could comment on Ivan's question.
Yeah, I will say that it's I don't know that there is any magic sauce to it. I think certainly sometimes that it comes out that way, sometimes it doesn't. I have found certainly that that have a strong power of the law of attraction, and that synchronous events and serendipity seem to gravitate around me. And that's I think that is some aspects of why in my microcosm of things that that it has happened this way. I will certainly say that having parents like Martine and Bina who actually encouraged and our independence, and gave us extraordinary experiences and perspectives is I think a great part of it. The word family itself is a reference to all of the subordinates of a head of a patriarch. It's the Roman word for all the human possessions of a Roman paternus. That's where the word family comes from. And throughout most of our time in our lives, and we chose where we wanted to go, who we wanted to be with. We didn't live in houses that required us to be owned and produced for the heads of household, which is something that came out of particularly the Agrarian Revolution. The Greeks, the Romans, they created a model of the world that forces us to be in a familial relationship with people that we simply share a little genetic code with, and perhaps nothing else. And I feel that this is much of the problem that is, facing, Western social cultures, because there is so much strife and, difficulty in society externalizing onto one or two people all of the communal responsibilities of tribing. So, well, I think really one thing that is important that has, Martine and Bina have done is given us that independence that has allowed us to choose relation, with each other, and not see it simply as a matter of we're born on the same row, we're going to grow up and flower and bloom on the same row, our seeds are going to fall right into the same soil, into the same, right there. And I think if anything, I think that is what has allowed Martine and Bina to maintain such a wide net of chosen family around, their own biological family.
Bina, what would your answer be to Ivan's question about any secret to creating a strong chosen family?
Well, it's challenging, I guess, for different people. I'm just open, honest person, and I stick with things. I make a lot of goals. So my goal is to have independent children. So you have to give them the right to do different things to become independent. And it's difficult because, parents want to keep their kids close. And not that we didn't, but I also wanted them to not be me. I wanted them to be them. So you have to give them the right to go away from you, even at early ages, and become themselves. That's very, very helpful. I just think that, Terasem invites us to love people that we would never even think of as a family member, and stay open to things in life. Don't close yourself off. That's really important.
I'd like to add that it's very happy for us to welcome Freddie as chosen family. And it's very obvious that her heart's a complete open and loving heart. And as we said in the reading today, I think anybody that believes in the diversity, unity, joyful immortality messages, love is essential messages, God is technological, death is optional messages of Terasem, is somebody whose happiness would be essential to my own happiness, and I'm happy to welcome them as family, including all the joiners on this call.
Right, we love that. And I'm so glad to see Sky joining us from Bristol today. More chosen family. We have Ruben, we have everybody's chosen family to us. So we're really happy with people. We're just so excited that you join from all the distant places that you do. And it's fun for me, because I get to learn about other people that I never would normally meet. Especially now in the COVID world, because you hardly get a chance to talk to anybody if you're doing work at home or something. So I really appreciate each one of you. Thank you so much for being our chosen family. And let's go onward.
Satnam. Somebody just sent me a text message with a screenshot of the Terasem logo, which I could see between you and Freddie's shoulders.
Yeah.
And Facebook's Meta logo. And they said, how obvious is it that Meta just copied off the Terasem logo?
Yeah. And, if you recall, the transition from a wall to a timeline happened shortly after that interview you and their chief technical officer did, about 10 years ago. And so, I mean, it is clear. The signs are clear, how aware, certain groups are in the media and in business, that they are looking and, you know, taking these very exact symbols and ideas out there.
And definitely there have been episodes of like Black Mirror, which is just ripped from the pages of things like the trial of Bina 48 and stuff like that. But that's good. That's all good, because that's, you know, there's a very interesting theory, which is that humans what's really unique about humans is that humans are the species that meme, you know, like there's actually, I think, whole treatises just written on memification and how you can predict by what humans will do by just watching what things they copy and replicate, which is, of course, the you know, an analog of what goes on biologically, you know, with viruses and stuff like that. I think it's all very interesting that, you know, in the whole universe, kind of just comes down to that things that work in whatever system they exist in become prevalent, and things that don't work become rare.
I just thought of something I had right here that I did want to share. It's a book that I got at the Space Settlement Summit. One of the executives of the holding company, actually, I mean, I spoke with two of them, but one of the executives that was there is a retired 2-star Army general logistician, 2-star General Mike Diamond. And he gave me a copy of his book, The Diamond Process, How to Fix Your Organization and Effectively Lead People. And, you know, I mean, partly what triggered it is this conversation, because in the introduction, it says, this book is dedicated to all leaders. And the first thing it starts on, from the devoted housewife and mother to the corporate executive and military member. And so right in the beginning of the book, you know, he acknowledges that, you know, all character traits start in the home.
Yeah. It's just like totally, just like that's memification, you know, and it's sad, you know, when you have people, you know, setting out counterproductive examples, you know, such as if somebody is a leader and they set out an example, we can trash the planet, many people will memify off of that, and it becomes harmful. They're basically, you know, there's just all these kind of ideational analogs of the COVID virus and other bad viruses. And it doesn't mean that they can't spread. It's just the duty of the rest of us to stop their spread.
Yeah. The general was kind enough to actually inscribe this book to me. And here's what he said. To Gabriel Rothblatt, thanks all the many things you are doing to advance all things space. We look forward to working with you in the future. Best wishes for continued success, General Mike Diamond.
Great. I would love to actually read a copy of that book, because there's always so much more to learn in the field of leadership. It's so complex. So I would definitely like to read a copy. And you mentioned he's a logistician, so Eli would probably be very interested in it as well.
Yeah. And just reading the first couple of chapters on the flight out here, and you know, it mimics a lot of the troubles and the things that Eli does. And so he answers how he really solved processes in order to improve Army formations and you know, route out bad actors in uniform. So yeah, great. I definitely.
By the way, speaking of the conference, I wanted to first thank you for representing us at the conference. And second, I don't know if they announced it, but I did tell the National Space Society organizers of the conference that that we are very pleased to re-up and renew the prize for next year as well. And they told me that they plan to announce the next year's prize in time for the winners to come to the International Space Development Conference, which is has apparently over 1,000 attendees. So
Yeah.
certainly feel free to encourage people to submit their ideas. But from what the three winners that you described to me, I really feel it was like a great purpose was accomplished to get people, especially young people, but any person thinking, you know, outside of the box about ways to live in space in our lifetime. I feel one of the biggest cop-outs that I experience in my life is the people say, you know, oh, like, be patient. This will happen, like, you know, in another 100 or 200 years. And it reminds me of like Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, where people would say to Martin Luther King, oh, be patient on civil rights. You know, there's been like slavery for 400 years. What's like another 100 years or so? Of course, that's like overwhelmingly white people saying that. But he had this great line where he said, I'm not sure if I'll have it exactly correct by memory, but something like, beware of the tranquilizing something of patience. I forgot the exact line, but like, you know, just like the put-offism and the, oh, this can be dealt with later. So then, like now, you know, when I see these nationally defined contributions to the climate change talks in Scotland, and people are saying, oh, we'll get to like net zero by 2070. It's like, really? How can you even say that with a straight face? You know, I mean, it's just, why don't you just be honest and say you don't give a shit? You know, it won't happen while you're alive, so you just don't give a shit. Why don't they just be honest about it? But when somebody says like something like, oh, we'll have net zero by 2070, it's the tranquilizing thing of like, just, you know, kicking the can down the you know, the road and waiting for later. And instead, what Martin Luther King urged was the fierce urgency of now. And it's like when Bina had her business, it was called Do It Now. You know, if something's good to do it now. Don't, like, you know, be, you know, kicking the can down the road for decades until, you know, it's going to be too late to do anything about it. And I think that, you know, one of the secrets to answer, you know, Ivan's question about chosen family is, you know, are people living in the now? Do they care about the now? Because if they really don't, then you can't really even connect with them. You know, if they're just like, well, we'll do this in 2070. And that comes all the way back around to what I started with of the Space Settlement Conference. You know, people were saying the reason why I fell in love with Jerry O'Neill, if you want to get like right down to the reason I fell in love with Jerry O'Neill, it was not because of his idea of moving to space. He wasn't the first person to suggest moving to space. That's been around since, you know, literally, you know, many, many decades, if not even centuries. Okay. And he was, I don't even think he really was the first person to suggest that, you know, space was a better place for an industrial society. You could find that in science fiction, Arthur C. Clarke, Robert Heinlein, Isaac Asimov, even. Many other people were talking about free orbiting space habitats. What he did is he laid out like a solidly rigorous, practical schedule that we could move and build these space settlements in the 1970s. Using things like, you know, external tank segments from the space shuttle that were just tossed in the ocean and burned up. And if we applied, you know, a fraction of the GMP that countries apply to national defense quote unquote, national offense, unquote unquote, et cetera. If we applied that to, like, you know, the defense of the species by becoming, you know, living in space settlements, we could have done this in the 1970s and 1980s. So he was living the fierce urgency of now. And then he didn't just like publish his book about it, then he organized the Princeton conferences on space manufacturing to show that, you know, telerobotic construction of these habitats. He developed a mass driver. He's a maker. He made a model mass driver to show that you could catapult lunar soil as a regolith to provide protection from cosmic radiation and whatnot off the surface of the moon. So he was a nowist, you know, and which I think is not coincidentally rhymes with being a Taoist, because, you know, he understood like the only reality is the now reality. And so to wrap up, I would say that when people would say like, oh, like, I hope my, you know, great grandchildren can live in space. Well, I hope they can too, you know, but that doesn't mean that you can't. And the purpose of the prize on space settlement in our lifetimes is to engender outside of the box thinking that, you know, one very straightforward way, which does not really take rocket science to get there, is just, you know, using cyber consciousness as a bridge, and then, you know, 3D bioprinting, downloading your mind, whatever instantiation you want, if any. And I know that, you know, Julio is a great advocate of, you know, you probably don't need any, and I would not really disagree with him, to be, you know, living in a space settlement in our lifetimes. And so in any event, I'm really happy that this prize got off. I think the National Space Society did a superb job of advertising and hosting it. And I will say that while I intrinsically do not like anything that starts with the word national, I will say that they, at least Rod Pyle and Aggie, I forgot her last name, but Rod Pyle and Aggie Coburn, I think, something like that. They turned my opinion 180 degrees around for at least that part of the National Space Society. And I thought they did a great job. So I said, yes, you guys did an amazing job. We are going to double up that prize for 2022. So sorry I rambled on so long, but I'm really feeling the fierce urgency of now.
Woo. Well, we're coming towards the top of the hour into meditation before we close out and all get into the first fierce urgency of now of our own days and lives.
Yes.
Pastor Freddie, you want to lead us out?
I would love to. Okay, everyone, let's just come to a comfortable seated position. Place your left palm right in the center of your lap, your right palm right on top of your left palm. Bring your shoulders together on your back and slowly let your eyes close. Take a deep breath in all the way down and exhale all the way out. I want you to continue taking these deep breaths on your own. And with each inhale, imagine the energy coming in through the top of your head, flowing out through the bottom of your body, making this continuous circle of light and healing energy flowing through your system as you deeply inhale and fully exhale. Feel your shoulders soften, starting to relax. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Bringing your awareness to now. Feeling gratitude for this life, for this breath. Each nourishing sip of air allowing your being to be creative and expansive. And let's take 3 more deep breaths here, feeling your face soften. Feeling the tension just releasing. And on your last exhale, bring your hands down to the side of your body. Continuing to sit up nice and tall. Let's take a deep inhale in and bring the hands up overhead. And from here, take another deep breath. And lightly grab onto your left wrist with your right hand. And slowly give a small open to the side body. Deep breath in. And exhale. One more breath here. See if you can find a little more space. And exhale. And bring your alignment back to center. Let your shoulders relax down. Drop your head. Feel a nice stretch of the backside of the body. Inhale, lifting the head up. Grab onto your right wrist with your left hand and slowly exhale as you open the right side of your body. Another deep inhale here. And exhale. And bring yourself back to alignment. Fingertips kiss above your head. Slowly lower your palms down to your knees. And grab a hold of both knees. And let's take a couple of seated cat-cows here. So drop the chin to chest. Round the spine. Inhale. And exhale. Bring the head up and back and open the chest. And in a beautiful, gracious flow, drop chin to chest, round the spine, inhale. And exhale, bringing the chest forward, opening to the light, dropping your throat back, opening the front side of the body. And return to center. Check in with your body. Is there anywhere you're feeling tension? Or notice, have your shoulders relaxed? Does your neck feel a little looser? I want you to extend your left arm out in front of you and grab onto the outside of your bicep and bring that left arm over. Then drop the chin. Deep breath here. And exhale. And slowly let go of that arm. Now bring your right arm out in front of you. Grab onto the outside of the bicep and bring that arm over, opening the shoulder. Drop chin. Deep breath in and release. Bring those shoulder blades back together on the back and let's take a couple of shoulder rolls to the back. Let's do 3. And reverse, 3 to the front. And drop chin to chest. Slowly roll left ear to left shoulder. Inhale. And exhale, center. Inhale, roll right ear to right shoulder. And exhale, center. Moving slowly and at your own pace. Let's continue for a few more breaths. And return to center. Bring your head up. Once again, check your alignment. Shoulder blades reaching for one another on the back. Hands placed on your knees. And here, let's just set our attention for today. If your intention is to live in the now, find how many ways you can do that today. Savor every delicious drop of life that is offered to you in every way. If your intention is to find a little more space, perhaps you take a few more moments of stretching. And if your intention is to live a more peaceful life, perhaps you just do an act of service for some random person that you meet in the street. Let's place our right hand over our heart, left hand on top of our right hand, and just bow our head in gratitude for gathering with our friends, our chosen family today here in Terasem. And let's bring that loving energy forward and offer it to the world. Thank you for practicing with me today.
Satnam.
Have a wonderful
Satnam.
day, everyone. See you next month in Terasem.
Hey, Sky, I got to talk to you later.
Thank you for joining, everybody. See you again soon.